McLaren's always a bit nervous anyway, something that Lando suffered from the beginning of the season, which Oscar managed to deal with. Is it maybe the braking, what do you call it? The offset braking, I've forgotten the word. Anti-dive, that's it. That's what I was trying to remember. An anti-squat. Something clearly made that McLaren difficult to handle, because Lando and Oscar, as we're seeing from the outcome of the World Championship, are good drivers, and they both stuck it in the wall.
Ant and I were in the passport queue on the way to go back home. And there was a slightly inebriated Azerbaijani man there, and it was one of those snakes, and he kept coming past Andrea Stella, and we kept coming past at the same time, and this Azerbaijani man kept going, was Oscar ill? Was you know, what happened to him? and Andrea, every time he came past, he asked him a different question. And we were laughing our heads off behind, and he said, some of these questions are better than yours. And but he just said, look, it was one of those weekends where nothing really seemed to go right, and they made a couple of questionable decisions. Perhaps they should have started Lando on the hards. Perhaps they did put him out too early in qualifying. It was not been as bad in terms of points haul since I think it was Vegas in 2023, Jamie. But you're going to have these weekends in the championship, aren't you? And it was just one of those where nothing went to plan for them this weekend. You could look at it like that.
You could, but it's funny because also early in the weekend, to kind of match Ted on kind of what we were saying about Oscar, is I said his bad weekends are never that bad. Whereas this was an exceptionally bad weekend. And I think that is the key. When the car isn't in the window, when you're not able to get everything out of it, you've still got to be finishing at least top 5 and just collecting points weekend in, weekend out, because up until this point, the battle's just been internal. And I think that's relieved a little bit of pressure in a way. Now you've got Max coming in. Okay, he is miles away in terms of points in the championship, but it's not impossible. But as soon as you get a thorn in the side and some external pressure, then that's when you really need to manage these bad weekends. And for me, I was very surprised that Oscar made the mistakes he did. I think a crash in qualifying happens, we've seen it to pretty much every driver on the grid at times, but a jump start followed by then a mistake in the race, it just, everything didn't feel right. I think he's been on the back foot for the last 2 weekends a little bit performance wise, and it would be really interesting now to see what he comes back with, because even though Oscar's this cool, super calm, collected character, doesn't make him immune to not feeling pressure, doesn't make him immune to not making mistakes. But how will he internally deal with that without, obviously we're never going to see his emotion, without seeing it from the outside?
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, Lando had a huge opportunity this weekend. And again, not something we've seen from Oscar, as you touched upon there. And are we going to see it again? I mean, maybe as the pressure ramps up as we head towards Abu Dhabi for the last 7 races and 3 sprints. But it's exactly that. We've got 7 races and 3 sprints. He hasn't handed an opportunity like this to Lando recently, and Lando could only make a 6-point gain. It should have been more, shouldn't it? And at least 10 points and got to within, let's say, I mean, best case scenario there, if they'd started him on the hards like they'd started George on the hards and they'd not made the mistake with the pit stop. I know it's if buts and maybes, Ted, but that could have been maybe 12 points. He could have made a net gain of 3, maybe 4 places, probably 3.
I think they were overwinged, Simon. They had too much. I think they had too much wing on it. I think they were just they had the wing that they thought was going to be for the best qualifying performance, and then allow them to run at the front and sort of run and hide. And it wasn't, to borrow Jamie's reference back to the F1 movie, it wasn't set up for battle really. So he couldn't get out of the train behind Liam Lawson early on and make the first stint was a bit of a write-off, and then they sort of hanged it out as much as they could with the tyre choices that you've already said. So yeah, he just couldn't make any progress. But then how fast was the McLaren?
In Sunday's post-race press conference, the 27-year-old reiterated that he is taking each event as it comes. Asked if Red Bull's recent increase in competitiveness had given him hope that the title could still be within reach, Verstappen answered, "I mean, I don't rely on hope. I personally don't think about it. I just go race by race, what I have been doing basically the whole season, just trying to do the best we can, try to score the most points that we can. And then after Abu Dhabi, we'll know." Six-time IndyCar race winner, James Hinchcliffe, and F1 TV's lead presenter, Laura Winter, joined Tom Clarkson in the Baku paddock to dissect a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend on the latest episode of F1 Nation. Max Verstappen's fourth win of the season means he's now 69 points behind championship leader Oscar Piastri. With 7 races and 3 sprints left, is the four-time world champion back in the title fight? Red Bull technical director Pierre Watch shares his thoughts and explains how the team have transformed their performance since the summer break, with Piastri crashing out on lap 1 and Lando Norris only finishing P7. How big a missed opportunity was this weekend for Norris to close the gap to his title rival? And was McLaren's difficult weekend a hangover from their team orders in Monza? You'll also hear a reaction from a very happy Carlos Sainz, after he scored his first podium for Williams with a perfectly executed race to P3. Tom, Laura, and Hinch also discuss a much better weekend for Mercedes duo George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, a very important battle between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, and if Lewis Hamilton is starting to find his groove, despite a weekend to forget for Ferrari. Everything needs to go perfectly. Verstappen on his title chances after back-to-back wins. Max Verstappen has been reflecting on his championship prospects off the back of an upswing in competitiveness for Red Bull. Max Verstappen has cautioned that everything needs to go perfectly for him if he hopes to close the gap in the championship and bid for the title, despite the Dutchman bolstering his points tally after scoring back-to-back wins in Italy and Azerbaijan, while McLaren faced a challenging weekend in Baku, which saw championship leader Oscar Piastri crash out of the race on lap 1, while Lando Norris had to settle for P7. Verstappen enjoyed a dominant outing, converting pole position into a commanding victory. During a chat with Sky Sports F1 after the Grand Prix, Verstappen was asked if the new floor recently introduced on Red Bull's car has had a particular impact on their performance level over these past weekends. "I think it's just a combination of a lot of things that are going better in the last few weeks, so we understood a bit more about the car," the reigning world champion explained. "Of course it's 2 low downforce tracks, so we have to wait and see how we are going to perform again on a high downforce track, but for now we're just very happy with what we're doing, and then we'll just find out at the upcoming races how that will go on other kinds of layouts." With 7 rounds remaining in the 2025 season, Verstappen's run of wins has seen him close the gap to Piastri down to 69 points, while he tails second-placed Norris by 44 points. When quizzed on whether he still sees opportunities to make gains should McLaren have further difficult weekends, Verstappen responded, "It's 7 races to go and it's still 69 points. It's a lot. Basically everything needs to go perfectly from my side, and then a bit of luck from their side I need as well, so it's still very tough." Speaking further on the topic in Sunday's post-race press conference, the 27-year-old reiterated that he is taking each event as it comes. Asked if Red Bull's recent increase in competitiveness had given him hope that the title could still be within reach, Verstappen answered, "I mean, I don't rely on hope. I personally don't think about it. I just go race by race, what I have been doing basically the whole season, just trying to do the best we can, try to score the most points that we can. And then after Abu Dhabi, we'll know." Six-time IndyCar race winner, James Hinchcliffe, and F1 TV's lead presenter, Laura Winter, joined Tom Clarkson in the Baku paddock to dissect a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend on the latest episode of F1 Nation. Max Verstappen's 4th win of the season means he's now 69 points behind championship leader Oscar Piastri. With 7 races and 3 sprints left, is the 4-time world champion back in the title fight? Red Bull technical director Pierre Watch shares his thoughts and explains how the team have transformed their performance since the summer break, with Piastri crashing out on lap 1 and Lando Norris only finishing P7. How big a missed opportunity was this weekend for Norris to close the gap